I've been going back and forth on writing this for a couple of days, but seeing as my situation has only gotten worse, what further harm could be done to me? As you can tell from the ages, I was 16 and she was when our son was born. We tried to stay together for him, but when he was 2 years old, my girlfriend decided this wasn't going to work. We split and she decided to keep the courts out of it and just pay child support. However, it wasn't court mandated, so she missed payments and they weren't enough to single-handedly support our son, so I got a job. I worked in electrical construction and took care of my son for the past 11 years. Well, I had growing suspicions that my son wasn't my kid, but I buried them. His mother is white and I'm black, but he looks Hispanic and has straight hair. My son also has no similar features to me. Last week, I took my son to the doctor and got his blood drawn, but he was scared, so I did it first to show him that he'd be fine. He got his blood drawn and the results came in 2 days later. He had an AB positive blood type and he was healthy. My blood type is A negative, and I called his mother because I figured I could get my question answered here without anyone knowing. She is also A positive, meaning it's impossible for him to be my son. But to make sure, I got a DNA paternity test. Those results came in 4 days ago, and he's not my son. There is a 1% chance that I'm his dad. So I got bamboozled completely. I was tricked into raising and bonding with this boy, while both his bio dad and mom got to live out their dreams. I didn't suspect her of cheating at the time, so this is really out of left field. I'll tell him when he gets older and truly understands the gravity of the situation. This is my son no matter what, but I feel completely emasculated. I raised another man's child and didn't even find out till he's 13. Me and X have always been cordial, but I really loathe her right now. She was a lying, conniving woman who cheated and dumped her mistake on me, and then had the audacity to tease him by popping in and out of his life. Anyway, how and when should I break the news to my son? I thought maybe he's older, but what do you guys think? You shouldn't feel emasculated. She manipulated you and lied to you. Despite finding out the truth, you are maintaining your place in his life as his father. Blood doesn't mean crap in terms of family. And doing what you have to do for your son. Blood or not, he is your son. Telling him is important, but make sure you remind him that even though he isn't biologically yours, that he is yours in all of the ways that count. You were there for his birth and every year since. So here's a little bit of context. My ex and I have been apart for about 3 years. She was having an affair and now lives with the guy. They are honestly a good fit and live together happily. The mother and I have a good co-parenting relationship, 50-50 time with the child, and agree on how to raise her best. I started dating a girl, and when things got serious, the ex just started to seriously dislike her. In my opinion, she's insecure about having another motherly figure in our daughter's life. I would regularly do things with the mother and child, apple picking, bike rides, water parks, etc. The girlfriend of about a year now has started to ask that I distance myself a little bit from that lifestyle. I have asked my ex if she would be comfortable including the girlfriend, but she says no, because she's not ready, and thinks she's about a year away from being comfortable around her. They have tried speaking in the past, and it got a little hostile, so them being together would not be a good environment for the child. I just received a text from the ex. I told daughter I'd take her to the pumpkin patch this weekend, and she asked if daddy could come too. Can your girlfriend smoke a spliff and not be a bee so you can come? Update with response. I'd like to add that I responded to this text, letting her know that it makes it incredibly difficult to attend these activities when she is being disrespectful like that. I would not be doing the pumpkin patch because I have plans to do that later this month with the girlfriend and daughter, but that I'd be there for the actual trick-or-treating. This did put me in a tough spot. I love doing these activities with my little girl, and she really does enjoy seeing her mom and dad together sometimes. But I know this could create issue with the girlfriend, and I think my ex secretly enjoys that. I want things to work out with the girlfriend, but it's important to me to have a good relationship with the mother of my child. Anyone else in a similar situation? What dictates which events are acceptable to be biological parent-only events until everyone decides they can be mature enough to all get along? Edit. I just wanted to add that my girlfriend and I do things all the time with my daughter together. She is in no way forbidden from being with my child, and the mother knows that. The mother is just always pushing to do activities, just the three of us. Having this sort of relationship with your ex is not necessary for things to go smoothly, and it's not necessary for the growth of your daughter. Your daughter can be a happy little girl whether her parents take her to things together or not. And you can maintain an amicable relationship with your ex without it too. There needs to be boundaries, and if your ex isn't comfortable with that, then she can duck off. So far, it seems like your girlfriend has been a damn saint and deserves better. Obviously, your daughter comes first, and she probably understands that. But your girlfriend needs to matter too, and you need to stand up for her and care more about her needs than those of your ex. I can't even type what I want to say here because it would be an essay, but if you continue to let your ex dictate parts of your parenting relationship that end in ostracizing your girlfriend, you're gonna wind up alone, and you'll have nobody to blame but yourself. If you want to pander to the woman who cheated on you and broke your family apart and let her have her way, then suit yourself. You're in for a long ride, and hopefully your girlfriend wises up and stands up for herself or realizes that she deserves better than being last in line. Update. I just wanted to address some of the similar comments that keep persisting. The girlfriend is wonderful and feels incredibly fulfilled in our relationship. We're solid. It takes more than a slight roadblock to make either one of us bounce, because we actually give a crap about each other and understand that when life gets hard, you just have to roll your sleeves up and get dirty. The comments about, "I would just leave if I was the girlfriend," just shows the character of some people when things get tough. People are not disposable. We stand by each other when things get hard. The ex-wife has her flaws, but she is also a good mom and would never dream of crap-talking anyone to our child, because she has enough sense to realize how damaging that could be. The relationship I value most is the one I have with my daughter. Something so many people in this thread fail to consider. In what world is it okay for me to tell my daughter's mother to just take off and eat it? What kind of example does that set for her? I will respect her mother, because how I treat her mother will set the tone for how she expects her future baby's father to treat her. People make mistakes. Just because I was able to forgive her does not mean she owns my balls. It would have been satisfying to throw her to the curb because of how she wronged me. It was harder to forgive her, but I did it because if she ended up homeless, it would have been my daughter who suffered in the end. If she were not the mother of my child, I would have been happy to never see her again. But that's not my reality. Anyone suggesting that I tell her to F off has some growing up to do, in my opinion. Do I need to learn to set boundaries? Absolutely, but it's a fine balance. My girlfriend knew very well that I came with baggage, but our dedication to one another has helped us triumph over these issues. She's patient as hell, and I love her for that. I'm cautious, and I have a right to be. A change does need to be made. It's just important that I consider all factors before making a decision that could have lasting effects. My wife and I often participate in various trials and studies that offer compensation. The only real invites that we've rejected participation in have been the time-consuming ones. One morning last week, I mentioned the invitation for a paternity and genetics research study to my wife, and at once she fiercely said no. I just casually asked why, mentioning the easy logistics of participating. She sternly said, "I just don't want to." Now, let me provide some context as to why this sent me into a spiral of doubt and fear. Of our 4 children, 3 are noticeably shades lighter. Both my wife and I are Indian descent, born and raised in the West. My wife has made sure to mention that she has European ancestry in her bloodline whenever someone mentions it. Both her parents are as Indian in looks as it gets. They live in India, and I've rarely interacted with them. Our eldest has some semblance to me, and my wife always makes comment about his looks and skin color, to the effect that my other children have called her out on a stark difference in treatment of him as well. She has mentioned wanting to try poly a few years ago when it was the new craze, but I had once made it clear that I will divorce her if she engages in any S behavior with anyone besides me. We have a prenup. I have suspected her of infidelity in the past, and once, when I gently voiced my concerns, she erupted into a storm of shouting and gaslighting, a crap show that I really don't want to restart. I can't look my wife in the eye since that morning, and this doubt and what-ifs are only growing. I need a firm answer to this suspicion now, but I know that asking for a paternity test out of the blue implies my suspicions. What should I do? Edit. I believe in the morning I will mention going through with the study invitation, just to gauge my wife's reaction. I will adjust my choice to go forward or not accordingly. Edit 2. The reason why I didn't choose to do this quietly is because it still requires the cooperation of each of my 4 children. They're old enough to know what a paternity or DNA test implies, which I believe would still lead to high emotions on the children's side. Don't bother asking your wife anymore. It is clear that she's being shady and had no regard for your concerns. She is likely only concerned about the implications of you finding out the truth. I would get a DNA test done without her knowing. The uncertainty will eat you alive if you ignore these feelings. Update. Yes, my suspicions were justified, and right. However, the extent of the horrors that were revealed to me were far more heartbreaking than I could have ever anticipated. The next day, I decided to ask gently about why she had so emphatically rejected the invitation to the study. My wife at once returned to her angered state and said something to express her dislike of the nature of the study. After, I went to dinner with my 4 children and explained my situation to them, and they all agreed that it was for the best of all of us to know the truth. The results came back with none of the 4 being biologically mine. 3 belonged to a single Caucasian man, which was suspected, and the other child that looked more of Indian descent was of another Indian man, not mine. I told my children that the results were being delayed, and in the meantime confronted my wife. At first, my wife broke down in tears and profusely apologized and begged me not to tell the kids. I kept asking, why? Why would you do this? If you didn't want me, why lead me down this path? She was unable to directly answer that inquiry even once. When I pressed further on who those men were, it was revealed to me that the white man was an ex-boyfriend of hers, and the Indian man was unknown to her. She genuinely believed it was mine. Yes, that implies that this woman did not have just one other Indian male partner she could point towards. I filed for divorce immediately. What I was not aware of was how damning the divorce laws truly are in my state legislature. I hadn't bothered to study much of it because my case was entirely of her wrongdoing. I will be losing the house and custody of all children and will be paying alimony and other benefits to my wife. Edit. In regards to the prenup, that did succeed in protecting my investment and retirement savings account. The house was also bought after our marriage. Also changed lost to will be losing, as lawyer has stated that is a high probability outcome in the ongoing matter. From what I've been able to gather from my children, who I still love and am loved by, their biological father of a run-down, deadbeat white man our age frequents the home to sleep over. I do not wish to partake in any other details, and I know that this update will elicit an overwhelmingly supportive response, but please don't. I am broken, and no amount of support, albeit genuine, will ever begin to heal me. I no longer have any faith in any system of morality, justice, or faith, nor do I care for any societal structures and ideals. I have nothing. My husband used to be in a 3-year relationship with a not-so-nice lady. They broke up, and she was ordered to move at least 2 kilometers away from him due to her behaviors. When we got together and he opened up with me, I actually encouraged him to go to therapy. He had been to court-mandated sessions to deal with stuff, but did not follow up, so it was needed. He got help, got an amazing job. We moved in together, got married, the whole stuff. His family has been nothing but amazing to me, and his mom and I have a very nice relationship. She makes me feel less homesick on special dates. I am an immigrant. The issue started some weeks ago. He received a letter asking for child support payments from his ex's kid. He showed me the letter, and I recommended he talk to his friends. The thing is, while my husband is not a lawyer, he hangs out with a lot of them, and they are pretty incredible at what they do. His social circle is basically composed of lawyers, IT, and marketing people, which back in the day was not. Important later. They advised a paternity test, of course, but also wrote a certified letter stating that if the kid is his, not in the birth certificate, didn't know the kid existed. He would like to get to know the child, visitation, and eventual custody. The letter also stated that he was willing to pay back child support and give the kid his last name if it was allowed by the mother, but due to the issues between him and the mother, my husband had a right to not see her, ex, ever, since he is, after all, a victim. They also demanded to know why he was not informed of the kid, and the reasoning about why the request for child support was done now and not before. I thought it was a very standard letter. I support my husband 100%, and my dad even offered to pay the legal fees, but his friends said they would of course not charge him more than a couple of beers. Paternity test is positive. The issue comes now since the ex thought my husband would just have a panic attack, which he did have, after getting the news, and pay her whatever she demanded or claimed. She did not expect him to have legal representation, want to claim the kid, etc. She expected him to cave in, do not want to claim the kid, and just give her money since he would be scared. The ex got in contact with my in-laws, told them that if my husband kept this up, they will never get to see the kid. My mother-in-law is begging me to take off my husband's support. She thinks I am financing it, because she so desperately wants a grandchild. She even asked me to convince my husband to request the protections off, so his ex can move back close to him. I, for the first time in 5 years, told her to go duck herself. She keeps saying I am encouraging the problem, am heartless, selfish, and I do not understand because I do not have any kids. My dad supports us, but my mom and brother are unsure about my position. So his ex said stop pursuing legal rights to the kid or she will never let y'all see the child. And his parents fell for that. Legal rights to the child are the only thing that can guarantee y'all will have access to the child.